France is frustrated. The president of France, Macron, is frustrated. And that's why he said this kind of words. We had a relationship based on security. It was in fact twofold. On one hand, it was our engagement against terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think someone forgot to say thank you. It's okay, it will come with time. Ungratefulness, I know it too well. It's a disease, can't be transmitted to a man. But I say this for all time, African head of states who have not had the courage in the face of the public opinion to hold, none of them would be a sovereign country today if the French army hadn't deployed in the region. And my heart goes out to all the soldiers, some of whom given their lives and fought for years. We did the right thing. We left because there were coup d'etats, because we were there at the request of the sovereign states who asked France to come. From the movement, there were coup d'etats, and people said their priorities were no longer fighting terrorism. It is this or that, it doesn't matter. France no longer belonged there because we are not at the back and call of coup leader, so we left. Macron said that African countries are ungrateful and they don't say thank you because he has helped Africa for so long. He has helped Africa in security. France sent their troops to Africa to help in fighting the terrorism in the region of Sahel. But since Ibrahim Traore or since Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger came to power, the current leaders came to power through a coup, they reject France from their countries. They send French troops from their countries. Now, a lot of African countries like Chad, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Central Africa are following that path, are following that agenda to reject a foreign influence in African countries. More so, these are foreign countries that they were former colonies. Now, the speech that France President Macron has given, it has sparked a lot of conversation. As I have told you, Emmanuel Macron expressed frustration over what he perceives as lack of gratitude from certain African nations for France's military intervention in the Sahel region. And when he says some or certain African regions or African countries, I know he's talking direct to Ibrahim Traore. He's talking direct to Tuchiani. He's talking direct to Goita. He's talking direct to Sahel region countries that are saying no to French. Now, Macron said that he was still or he's still waiting for Africa Sahel state to thank Paris for stopping them from falling into the hands of militias. Wow. That speech, I think Macron was not prepared. He did not written that speech down. That speech he gave and what he said, it is what is inside his heart. That is the truth or is the real thing they are thinking about Africa. Now, which kind of help did they give Africa? We may say they helped in security, but there was still insecurity in Sahel region. Still malicious groups were still there in Sahel region. Then, why did we have these coups? Why did Ibrahim Traore took power through coup when Burkina Faso had a military, France military as a security? Why did we have Tchiani took power through a coup? If for real that France was putting peace or was keeping security in the region. And as I say always, France were protecting their interest in the Sahel. And their interest is exploitation. Their interest is to protect the economic sector, is to protect their trade and investment, is to protect their geopolitical influence by being audible in Sahel region. Now, after saying these words, Chad and Senegal has responded. The president or prime minister of Senegal has represented or has done what? The prime minister of Senegal has talked about it. Now, Chad foreign minister said this. Macron words reflects a contemptuous attitude towards Africa and Africans. French leaders need to learn to respect the African people and to recognize the value of their sacrifices. 60 years of French presence or France presence in Chad has often been limited to its own strategic interest without any real lasting impact on the development on the development of Chadian people. That is Chad Prime Minister Abdul Rahman, and he spoke the truth. France need to respect Africa and Africans. Senegal Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko wrote on X saying this: I would like to say that in the case of Senegal, this assertion is totally erroneous. No discussion or negotiation has taken place to date, and the decision taken by Senegal stems from its sole will as a free, independent, and sovereign country. France has neither the capacity nor the legitimacy to ensure Africa security and sovereignty. Hear that? That means that if France has the capacity to ensure sovereignty and security, that means they are the one who are causing this. Their presence will end this. These two leaders from Senegal and from Chad, they spoke the mind of a lot, a mind of leaders like Ibrahim Traore, Tichiani, and Goita, who need to respect Africa and Africans. We as Africa, we as Africans, we have helped France a lot. If it's to say thank you, then France needs to say thank you to Africa. France needs to show gratitude to Africa. France needs to respect Africa because France's economy is running the back of Africa. France's influence in the continent is because of Africa and Africans. If there is people who need to say thanks, is France, not African. And they can't accept that because they think they are superior. Now, the reason why Macron is frustrated is because France is facing the impact of these Sahel region or Sahel countries to reject them. One of the impact they are facing is economic losses. France relies on Africans' resources like uranium, gold, oil, etc., etc. But when they are rejected or they are being rejected from Africa, that means they will not benefit from this because they were getting it cheap, they were getting it in illegal way, they were not paying for it. It was total exploitation of these resources. Now its economy, it is on the verge of falling simply because there's no more. Their trade and investment, France has a lot of investment. They are doing trade here. They have companies here, Total company. They have companies here like, example is Total and other companies, businesses that are working here. Now, sending away French or France from Africa, that means that their trade or their investments is going down. We'll talk about franc or CFA franc. The currency is losing its value in Africa because these countries that has been liberated themselves from France's hands will seek option of another currency. That means CFA franc will lose its power in Africa or the monetary influence in Africa. Geopolitical influence. This is what France is suffering. France has maintained a strong military and diplomatic presence in Africa to project power and maintain alliances. If rejected, France would lose its ability to influence African politics and security policies. That means what? That means that their influence in European Union, their influence among other African countries, their influence in the world is going down. So they are losing the loss of strategic alliances, the weakening of global standings, because Africa has been there saying yes to everything that France is saying on the world podium. Countries like China and Russia and the US, without African alliances, France would struggle to go head in head with these countries. Military and security setbacks. France has several military bases in Africa, e.g. Djibouti, Chad, and Niger. Now, losing access to these bases will hinder their ability to project power in the region and fight terrorism. Now, they were not fighting terrorism, but they were fighting the people who, or the leaders who wanted to liberate these countries. The presence of French military in Africa was not to fight terrorism, but was to fight those leaders who wanted change in African countries, to fight leaders who wanted change, who wanted liberation, who wanted economic liberation, who wanted resources liberation, like of Thomas Sankara. That was the work of the military in Africa. The work of the French military in Africa was to destabilize this political stability in the country so that they can find a better way to exploit. That's why we had so many coups, supported coups. And this has made France to be able to be stable in these African countries because they are the one who are causing these problems. Their cultural will decline because they had a soft power. Francophone is all over Sahel region. People are speaking French. CFA Franc, their culture is being practiced in these countries. So when they lose their popularity here, that means they will lose their language and education here. They will lose media and arts here because these countries have decided. For example, Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore said that now the leaders or the lawyers or the judges will end wearing these wigs, white man wigs. Students will now start wearing traditional attires, cultural attires of Burkina Faso to school. And I will be seeing this as a threat to France. And that's why France or Macron is frustrated. Macron is frustrated because he is losing interest in the international podium. The countries that used to say yes, yes, yes to everything, now they are saying no. He's saying that they were here to put peace or insecurity, to secure the region. And each and every day as I was growing, I had a lot of complaints of insecurity in the region of Sahel. This means what? This means that destabilization of or interference into political matters, causing coups, supporting leaders who are corrupt, that was the work of this military here. And now they are feeling the heat. Now they are feeling like it is getting in their head. It's so bad. It is so intimidating. It is so abusive for Macron to say that French or Africa should be gratitude and say thank you to France. And we all know what France has done in Africa. We all know the causes or the losses or the pains the people of Africa are going through in Western region because of France. That is so bad. I don't know why he said these words, but that is how the government of France or how Macron feels. It was direct words how he feels, how frustrated he is. And I thank you, Chad and Senegal, for responding to that. I hope Ibrahim Traore will respond to that. I'm waiting for my leader to respond to that. And I'm hoping other African leaders will follow this path of rejecting France. I want Ghana to reject France. I want Guinea-Bissau, Guinea. I want Sierra Leone. I want these countries, Congo, reject France so that we see how it will end.
Nous avions une relation sécuritaire. Elle était de deux natures, en vérité. Il y a une partie, c'était notre engagement contre le terrorisme depuis 2013. On avait raison. Je crois qu'on a oublié de nous dire merci. C'est pas grave, ça viendra avec le temps. L'ingratitude, je suis bien placé pour le savoir, c'est une maladie non transmissible à l'homme. Mais je le dis pour tous les gouvernants africains qui n'ont pas eu le courage, vis-à-vis de leurs opinions publiques, de le porter, aucun d'entre eux ne serait aujourd'hui avec un pays souverain si l'armée française ne s'était pas déployée dans cette région. Et j'ai une pensée émue pour nos soldats qui, parfois, ont donné leur vie et pendant des années se sont battus. Nous avons bien fait. On est parti parce qu'il y a eu des coups d'État. Parce qu'on était là à la demande d'États souverains qui avaient demandé à la France de venir. À partir du moment où il y a eu des coups d'État, où les gens ont dit « notre priorité, c'est plus la lutte contre le terrorisme, c'est ceci ou cela, qu'importe », la France n'y avait plus sa place, parce que nous ne sommes pas les supplétifs de putschistes. Donc on est parti.
Peace be with you.